Mira and HarperAudio present The Keeper of Lonely Spirits by E. M. Anderson. Performed by David Sweeney-Bear. Author's Note: This is a cozy book. There are plants. There are birds. There's a cast whose collective love language is feeding people, because I can't write a book without feeding people is love. That said, this is also a sad book. On purpose. Sorry about that. While cozy, the story deals heavily with grief and loss. The main character has anxiety and experiences panic attacks on the page. Another character has depression. Several characters experience dissociation and flashbacks on the page, discuss or remember past suicide attempts, and think back to or experience the death of close family members. Additionally, parts of the story involve bodily injury, and there are brief mentions of physical abuse, homophobia, and alcoholism. If any of these topics might be triggering for you, you may want to proceed with caution or even set the book aside. Of course, I hope you'll read it, but it's more important to me that you be well. If you do set the book aside, I hope that, should you pick it up again someday, it'll be as much of a comfort to you as it is to me. To Grandpa. 1. A spirit was lurking on the stairwell of the historic steps on Savannah's waterfront. For months the steps had been even more treacherous than usual. Not only tourists, but folks who had lived in Savannah all their lives had slipped going up or down, skinned knees, scraped hands, laughed nervously, and said they must have missed a stair or misjudged the height. A few accused friends of pushing them, but said friends vehemently denied it, accusing the accusers of clumsiness in turn. At last a tourist had broken a leg and threatened to sue the city. Never mind the signs at either end, warning users the steps were historical and therefore not up to code. The signs probably would have prevented the success of such a lawsuit, but the city, tired of complaints, hung caution tape across the stairwell and closure signs for good measure, and turned their attention to other things. Unbeknownst to them, the unassuming old white man standing before the steps in the wee hours of a mild April morning hoped to solve their problem before the sun rose. He didn't look like a ghost hunter. He was tall and thin, with blue eyes, a hawkish nose, and thin lips that rarely smiled. Just now a messenger bag was slung over his shoulder. Dressed in flannel, jeans, and work boots, he looked like a farmer, which he wasn't, but had been in his boyhood, some 2 centuries ago. Now he was a groundskeeper at Colonial Park Cemetery for the present, but not for much longer if all went well this morning. He thumbed up the brim of his flat cap, contemplating the stairwell and the spirit therein. No corporeal form, but a haze of colour and smell and emotion, a rotted greenish-brown that smelled like Georgia's coastal salt marshes, but more. The whole stairwell was mucky with fear. Windows rattled in the buildings on either side. The groundskeeper glanced down the street, saw no one, lifted the caution tape, and stepped under it. A cloud of fear enveloped him. Rot oozed on his tongue, a phantom feeling of sludge. When he'd been young and freshly cursed, the spirit's swell of emotion had overwhelmed him. He'd drowned in it, unable to separate the feelings of the dead from his own. They'd scared him, the feelings, the voices, not that they were precisely voices. For decades he'd avoided them when he could, ignored them when he couldn't. Even Jack had never known about them. These days, the dead comforted him. Company he didn't fear losing and never got to know too well. The closest to death he ever came. A reason for him to live, if there were a reason when life had been too long already. Of course, there was the curse, but the curse wasn't a reason to live so much as the thing keeping him alive. The windows rattled harder. The rusting metal handrail in the center of the steps groaned.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?